As a human being, we not only choose our birth, we also choose our death. We remain wondered about our life, and we remain so much afraid about death just because we are unaware that we have chosen our birth and we are going choosing our death. I speak a lot about life and the possibilities of life, how one should live his life, how one could live his life, what are the things we can achieve in life, right? Life greatness I always speak about. But today I have chosen a little contradictory topic, I would say, which is death. Why I'm speaking about death? First of all, I would like to make it clear that my intention to speak about death is not I want to reduce your desire for life. I do not want to I will say somewhere I'm asking you to compromise your inspiration with your inspirations of life. No, not at all. Life, every human being should have a great desire from his own life. There's no problem, but he also has to be comfortable little with the death, and that is the intention I have chosen. Because if you see this entire life, right, life and death are always together, but most of the time when we plan our life, we think about our life, we only think about life and life again, but we never thought about or never think about this death. And this is the reason I would say that we are so much afraid about death. But there are some deeper reasons, I would say, but deeper reason. And we, with little experiments, right, with I have given a title today, that experimenting death. With these little experiments, we can reduce the fear of death inside. We can make more comfortable ourselves for a death. And this is one reason. And also one reason is that if you are in life, if I'm only thinking and only thinking day in and day out about the life, I would say the knowing of life will remain incomplete without knowing the death, or without becoming mature for the death, right? So these are the reasons I have chosen this experimenting death, this topic today. And before I begin this topic, right, I would like to share with very simple examples with you, which will help you to understand that how and in which direction these experiments will go. First experiment and first example, I would say, we can think about an individual who works as a labor day in and day out in a very difficult situation, different kind of weathers, and still he remained healthy throughout his life. On the other hand, I would say many people that who are living with a lot of comforts in their life, all luxuries in life, but still they fall sick with the little weather changes. They feel not so healthy as the other guy is. At the same time, we have seen that a lot of soldiers, I would say, who take bullets on their body many times, and still they live again. But on the other hand, I have seen so many individuals in the society who just with little arguments, they feel so sad that they commit suicide or they accept death. They could not overcome these experiences in their life. So why these differences? I was trying to think that why this pain itself is there in a human being. What is pain, if you try to understand? What is individual pain, if you try to understand that? So something remain painful for us if we are not used to it. Right? If we are not ready mentally and physically for that particular situation, it becomes painful. It becomes painful for us. So it is, with that I want to conclude that it is not the outer incident happening around, but it is our inner preparation which makes that situation as a pain or pleasure, I would say, right? Whether we are comfortable with some situation or not, it is only being decided by our readiness, our preparedness for that particular situation. So that is the first point. In this direction, if you try to see various kind of difficulties a human being come across throughout his life, like his health issues, his wealth issues, his family issues, all kind of different issues, if you try to see, you will find that a person who has thought about it and who has planned properly for it, he remain more stable in that kind of difficult situation as compared to other human being who has never thought about it. And why this happened? Because that another individual has always thought about the happy path of life. He has always thought about the good things about life, but he has never thought about there is a dark side. There could be a dark side as well. But if you want to plan something properly, if you want to become entirely mature for life, you have to also think about this dark side of life. And why I'm saying dark side, because you are not in dark is not because death is something bad, no, but as you are not ready for it, you are not ready to accept it, it's experience, the death experience become painful for you. And that is why I'm saying that it is painful, it is dark for you. And if I ask about the death, so what is the death is that I have seen a lot of warriors who has win so many wars, still they are afraid about their own death. I have seen people who are not only in the happy situation, or I would say a good part of life, but in the extreme pain also, right? They are very sick, still they want to live. So willingness to live and live more is not bad, right? And first thing I want to make it clear, very clear, is that willingness or desire to live more and more and remain afraid for the death, these two are entirely different things. If you are afraid for death, it is entirely different emotion than you are so much inspired to live great life. And most of the people I say that who remain average in their life are afraid of death. They are waiting for death somewhere. I would like to take one example which has happened. This incident happened recently in my neighborhood, right? There is a family, and in that family one mother passes away, and her children are very mature now. They are not very young kid, they are very mature. And they were crying by seeing the dead body. They are crying a lot. For hours and hours they were crying, and the other people around were trying to adjust them, were trying to help them, and were trying to calm down them, but they were not ready to accept that they have lost their mother today. And it is very natural that if someone has lost his mother, whether he's a human being or he's an animal also, there would be a pain inside of losing a mother. That I understood. And I'm not saying that those people had done something wrong. As a human being is free to express his happiness, he should, and he is free to express his pain, extreme pain also. He is free and he should do that. We should release our emotion as natural as possible, right? And if you don't express your emotions, that become other kind of diseases inside you. That is also possible. But what I was thinking at that particular, by seeing all the situation for hours and hours, I was continuously observing, and I was thinking that can you reduce the amount of pain involved inside death, right? Can I make a human being more comfortable for his own death? Can I make a human being and his family members more comfortable to accept death? Can we do something for that human being who is so much afraid and who feels so much helpless in front of death? Can we make him ready for death? Because throughout our life, right, we learn a lot about life, and we think that we will never die, but death is the reality. Everyone has to die. But we not with our own death. Forget about our own death. By seeing the other deaths also, we become so unstable inside. Every human being, every being knows from his only birth, from the very moment he has experienced this world, right? He knows that someday he is going to die. But he don't want to think about death. And that particular thinking inside, that particular restriction which he has created inside, that makes this death very painful. And for that I am trying to explain these experiments with you, so that the amount of pain we experience at the time of death, right, and the amount of pain we'll experience with others' death, right, could be reduced. First experiment is experimenting death alone. The first experiment is experimenting death alone. What we need to do in it? Let's assume you are making your weekly plan, you are making your monthly plan, you are making your yearly plan, you are making your 5-year plan, all this kind of plans you make. Why you don't write your death plan, how you want to die? why you want to die, and what will happen at the time of death. And remember, something which you will not do throughout your life, you cannot do at the time of death. We are doing a mistake, or the people who feel so much pain and at the time of death, they do only one mistake. What is the mistake is that throughout the life they would never think about death. All of a sudden it came suddenly someday, and they become so helpless that they cry, and they do not want to die, but they die. And the moment, the way you live, you die. The way you die, again you get the next life, kind of. So how we can make this incident little more comfortable for us? As we said, that weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever the plan you make, choose some time for you where you can think about your own death. In a month once, in a week once, in a month once, sometime you get from your busy schedule, and you sit alone in some room, or you lie down on the floor alone, I would say, and think that now you are no more in this world. You are dead already. And now your family members are crying around. They are crying around, and they are missing you. What are the kind of memories they will have once you will leave this body? And you also think, and apart from their thinking, you try to think what you are thinking, that what kind of life you have lived, what all you have done good, you feel happy about them, what all the mistakes you have done, and what you will do if you get the next chance, right? In this way, in this experiment, right, you could feel your death, and this experiencing death will not reduce the amount of life inside you. Remember, trust me, this will not reduce the amount of life you have inside you. No, it will give your life a new wisdom, because the moment you will know that you're going to die and you will be experiencing your death, you will come to know that this life is very short. This life is very short, and in this life we don't have time to commit mistakes, we don't have time to trouble others, we don't have time to create problems for others. We will become very wise of utilizing this life, right? And the moment we will they'll be burning our body, or they'll be doing the last ceremony for our body, right? Let's try to experience up to that depth. In the beginning, it may happen that this experiment, in the beginning, it may happen that you will not be very comfortable and you feel so much afraid inside, right? It is possible. It is possible, and that's why I said that this experiment has to be done people with not very young age, but it has to be done with the people with mature age, right? We are mature enough, they can do this experiment. And with this experiment, slowly and slowly, what will happen, as you will grow and you will keep doing this experiment, you will become very comfortable with death. And it happens, right, as we grow with age, right, as we become older, the fear of death increases. But with a person who is doing this experiment throughout in his life, as soon as will become old, right, the death will become more natural to him, right? And if he will not make himself ready for his own death, but he will also make his family member, his also ready for this experience, right? So with that, this experimenting death alone will make you more mature about death. And if once you are mature, right, you are mentally and you will physically you will be ready to leave your body any day. And with that experience, right, now human being could feel the least possible death, least possible pain, I would say, at the time of death. So this is one experiment he can do. Second experiment which I would try to discuss here is given from the Buddha, I would say. Buddha used to teach his disciple in a way that go to cemetery and see what happened that once a human being died, right? What people does with the human body once they are no more in this world, right? And with this, if you go to such places and spend some time alone, right, you will find it very you will find it very comfortable, right, to accept your own death. that you will come to know this reality. This is the life, and this is what the reality is. As the life you are living with the reality, this is also the other side of it, and this is another reality. I always say that human being has to become more and more ready for the life, but he has to always keep in mind that this death, and this experiment can also help him to experience or reduce the experience of death, right? The pain involved in the death experience, I would say. Third experiment he can do, and this has to be done under a very good professional, I would say. Hypnotism he can use, that we can hypnotize a human being and we can give him a near-death experience. Because what is our fear? Basically something which we have not experienced, we have never done so far in life, we remain afraid of. So if this could done, right, this could done, that we hypnotize a human being and we give him a near-death experience, right, he will become aware about death. He'll become aware about death. What is death he will experience, how one feels when there is no life in the body. He will experience the situation, and after experiencing few times, right, he will become more comfortable with the death, and he will also, and the moment he will become comfortable with the death, he will also remain very comfortable with the life also. So this hypnotism technique could be used, but as I said, it has to be done under very good professional, very person who has enough experience in doing this. It has to be done under very much precaution, because this is risky. And fourth and last, if this experiment, right, directly experiencing your death, directly thinking about it, you don't feel good, at least you can do one thing. When you are doing a life plan, when you're doing any kind of planning, so you have to also think about this death part. Let's assume nowadays people what are doing this, they are taking huge loans, they are taking home loan, they are taking car loan, they are taking all the kind of property loan, they are doing investment, they are doing this and that, by thinking that for next 60-70 years they are going to live. But that is not very true. You don't know when you will die. Next moment you may die. You never know. So when you are doing such kind of planning, financial planning, when you are doing such kind of life planning, right, and you want to make sure that when something happened to you, you do not want to give problems to your family members because of your investment, because of your loans. Think about it. Think about it. You plan accordingly, that if you will be there or you will not be there, your precaution and preparation should not affect your family members, your relatives, your parents, your friends in a negative way. Think about it. So with that thinking, right, you will write a more mature plan. What is the purpose of planning? The purpose of planning should be that purpose of planning should not be that how we could begin and how we can survive, but also how we will end, what kind of end it will be. And this is what the winning of life. If someone asked me to judge his life, I would not see only how he has lived, but I will also see how he has died, right? So this particular topic I have discussed with you, the experimenting death, could help individual to become more comfortable with the death, and not only with his own death but other death too. And with this understanding, he can become more mature and more aware about the life and about the death. And a person who is living with this honesty, right, inside, a person who will live with this honesty will definitely become more good human being. He'll become good human being. A good human being could only do a good thing for his own life and for others' life. So do not, I would say, at the end, I would say, do not remain afraid of death, right? Death is very certain and possible at any time. It is our readiness which will change our experience with the death. So as we plan, let's assume in a week we plan 6 days, 6.5 days, I would say, about your life. Give half day at least for death also, because that is also part of life. And with these experiments which I have shared with you, right, will make you free from inside, from the fear of death. So with that sharing, I would like to stop here, and I would say thanks to you for listening this video, and I hope that this will definitely help you and will make you aware about the different dimension of life, make you aware to see the new possibilities or new dimensions of life. And this information, I hope, that will not only help you but will also help you to understand others' life, what kind of happenings in others' life, what kind of situations others are going through in their life. And you will with this experiment at the last, right, you will start respecting your life more, and one who can respect his own life, he care about others' life too. So thanks for listening.